Yeah, I am. I mean, I like to win things. Yeah, like I like to enter with the idea of winning. Yeah, because it gives you some motivation. It's more about doing the job as well as you can, and see what happens.
Welcome back to another episode of this year's Road to World Time Attack Challenge, presented to you by Supercheap Auto. Today we have the MCA Suspension Toyota 86 that will be competing in the MoTeC Pro Open Class. We'll be talking to the owner and longtime competitor, Murray Coote, and the new driver that will be in the hot seat for this year.
Hi, I'm Murray Coote. I'm from MCA Suspension. I built what they call the Hammerhead, which was a Nissan S13, which became quite successful. And then Josh followed that up with building some cars also. And this is the Toyota 86, which actually originally belonged to my son, but I've grabbed it to finish it off because I considered it an unfinished job, and here we go. So we're on another wild ride down to World Time Attack.
Murray, could you name some of the drivers that you've had pioneer your cars over the time at World Time Attack Challenge?
Yeah. I used to do a fair bit of work in New Zealand with car setups, where I met a young kid, and his name was Earl Bamber. I picked Earl to drive the first Hammerhead, and so then Shane Van Gisbergen drove it for a couple of years. And then we got Tim Slade, Warren Luff, Andre Hungartner, all very, very good people to deal with.
And now this year, who do you have driving the MCA 86?
Another young one, a bit like an Earl Bamber, I reckon, but a young bloke. He's only 20 years old, and that's Cameron McLeod.
Hi, my name's Cameron McLeod. I'm 20 years of age and I'll be racing in the MoTeC Pro Open Class in the World Time Attack this year.
Could you name some of the cars that you have driven and have currently been driving?
Some of the cars I've driven, it's a bit of a list. I've driven all things to Porsche Cup cars, IRC cars, your Mark cars, your open wheelers, your GT cars, a few of them, and obviously some supercars. And that's what I'm currently racing at the moment, is the Dunlop Super 2 Championship.
Could you introduce the car behind you and tell us the origin story of when you first got it?
Yes, well, my son started the build on this car, and it started with a normally aspirated 370Z Nissan engine. We're a bit of a Nissan family too, but and then that ran for a couple of years, and then we decided to move on with it, and then we got the R35 engine. 3.8 litre twin turbo engine, put that in.
It's not your average 86, it's got a few more bells and whistles. It just makes you, kind of love it even more when you jump in something that's so powerful, and it just gives you what you want, which is straight line speed and raw power. And this is what it's got, and that's what Time Attack's all about. Can't wait to get started at Sydney. We had a great day here. The car ran mint all day, so you can't really ask for a better test day.
What was going on in your mind when you were sitting in the driver's seat for the first time?
Sitting in the driver's seat for the first time was, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like when you're taking off in an aeroplane and it's just that little bit more power than you've ever felt before. It's kind of put that and double it into this. And you're controlling it all with your right foot with no ABS or traction control on this car. So powerful. It never gets old how powerful it is. Some cars you hop in and after a while it gets, oh yeah, I could go with more top speed or more motor, but this it's just so fast. It just won't get old how fast it is. That's why it's such a great car, and it's been built awesomely, so it's all going really well. Super 2's got a lot less aero, less motor. I think the only similarities is it's rear-wheel drive, and the motor's at the front. It's a breathtaking experience driving one of these for the first time. It's just so different to anything else I've ever driven. It just kind of makes everything else feel slow. If you went back into a supercar, it'd be like, come on, give me more poke.
What sort of adjustments have you had to make personally when you're out there on the track?
Just keep your foot flat, even though you go past your usual brake marker. Everything comes at you so fast in these cars. It's a bit harder to gauge where you need a brake. Most of the time going down the straight, you look at your lap time, and I'm just looking at the corner, and the more time you spend looking at the corner, the more time you can process how fast you're getting. So It's been a big step. It's basically got the same power of a F1 car, so it's got some grunt, and it's a car so small and so light as well, just kind of leaps off the corner and picks the front wheels up, and it's just really cool.
His drivers tend to have a rise to fame. Do you feel any pressure at all being in the hot seat?
Yeah, obviously all those drivers come out to be something really cool and something really great, and I hope that this car will help me follow those footsteps as well, which will be really cool to end up to be such a good driver like Shane or Earl Bamber. It'll be really cool to kind of match what they do, or not even better, you never know. So yeah, it's just good. The car and the team has good heritage and support behind it, so that just makes everything that little bit easier and a little bit more faithful that the car can do it. And it's just kind of your average team. Just we got Murray and got his wife here and a couple of his mates working on the car. It's nothing fancy, and it just goes to show what you can really do with just not much. And yeah, you don't need all the fancy gadgets.
Supercheap Auto are not only sponsoring Queensland Raceway, but they're also powering this Road to World Time Attack Challenge 2025. Big thanks to Supercheap Auto. Visit their website for exclusive deals and offers. Now back to the action. We are now standing here next to the MCA 86 with Murray. Murray, we'd love to talk about the car in its entirety. Can we start with what engine package you're running?
It's got a standard block, and my son picked that motor because it's something where you can have 1,000 horsepower without going overboard as far as blocks and super expensive stuff. It's back as far as the rules will allow for weight distribution. It's not the lightest setup in the world, but it's not too bad. It's got a lovely intercooler radiator setup, and PWR were really helpful in organising all that, and that works really well. Our previous car, the Hammerhead, like overheating, you probably wouldn't want to do more than 5 or 6 laps because the temperature kept rising because of other configured problems. But this is a very good setup, and that works well.
So what was the driving factor that helped you choose this engine?
Well, we're a bit of a Nissan nut family anyway, and we thought we'd tidy up with Toyota.
The aero is looking quite aggressive on this car. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, well, with the new rulings for Pro Open, it allowed a little bit more flexibility with the design. So we tried to capitalise that as much as we could. That incorporated getting a new front aero front bar, which came from some help from Sydney Composites. Barry Lock aerodynamics there, and Andrew Brilliant there. And it's been, it all works all pretty good.
Fantastic. Next, I'd love to move on to talking about your wheel and suspension setup.
Yeah.
We're down low with the car now. Could you tell us about the wheels that you're running here?
Well, the wheels are the original wheels that my son used, but it's got an addition now. It's got slicks on it, which it's never had on before.
And what brakes are you running behind there?
They're carbon brakes, really nice and light, and they work really terrible when they're cold, but they work really well when they're hot.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about the heart and soul of your business, the suspension of this car. What do you have set up here?
Yeah, well, my son markets his own suspension, and this is his setup. It's called Reds, and that just had some Reds on it when I picked the car up, and they're still on it. So after some data, so we did some downforce testing, and like the weight's changed a little bit, but not much. The downforce has changed a fair bit, and so out of that data, I just sort of revalved them a little bit to suit the new specifications, and basically that's it. Yeah, it's a very simple setup.
So if a customer were to walk in here right now, would they be able to buy the same package?
Absolutely, as long as they know what we discussed the car. Well, Josh would, my son would, and then discuss the different damping levels. We're
now sitting on the inside of the MCA 86, and wow, Murray, there's a lot going on here. Could you tell us about the interior?
We'll start with the accelerator and brake is pretty well custom for Cameron, as he likes it. He actually left foot brakes and doesn't use the clutch at all. So the gear shift is just a typical everyday Hollinger sequential gear shift. A simple kill switch, very nice seat. There's no other real age. We do have, you'll see the wire coming out of the gear shift there. That's a strain gauge, what they call as a shift cut, so you can actually change gears without using the clutch. And so that's about the only electronic aid we really have, apart from the basic configuration of making the engine go. We have a very narrow window of working on the car. So I think it's more important to work and improve other parts of the car and rely on the driver input to get the result.
I can see there's been a lot of changes done here, but will there be more changes in the future that you can see done to this car?
If we were going to have a wish list, we'd say, I'd like to think that this is sort of nearly good enough to do the job the way it is.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Murray. Now we're going to watch Cameron in the hot seat driving the winning lap at the King of QR.
The lap record that's been broken was pretty cool. I didn't actually realise until he just told me.
Congratulations.
But it makes sense, it's the first time these cars have run out of the track with these tyres, and definitely it would have been a fast lap time. But yeah, it's just more just the little things, the car's so fast, it's got so much aero that it's hard to kind of get the right mid-corner speed on the slow stuff, and then the high speed corner speed as all, and the way the weight transfer is all it's a bit tricky. So getting the balance for the slow speed and high speed is a bit tricky, but yeah, the team does a great job, and it's got some pretty standard, uprights from 86 and MCA shocks. It's all nothing fancy, and it just goes to show what kind of standard stuff can do, and to break a lap record, it's really cool. But no, I'm all for it. It's really raw. It saves a bit of weight and costs without all that, and that's the way Murray and Josh want to run it, and I'm all for it. So yeah, a car with this much aero, it's a bit harder to lock up than your average car. So it's needed, but it's not 100% needed. You can still do a really fast lap time without it.
You have Cameron McLeod in the driver's seat of the 86 this year, and we saw him out on the track at Queensland Raceway. How did it go?
Yeah, really well. Yeah, this is our first real experience with Cameron, and it was absolutely fine. He's got a lot of skill there, and trying to harness all that has been pretty easy, really. It's been good, and I don't think I could ask for anything more.
Now, you're a very familiar name in motorsports, but for the people watching who don't know your backstory, how did you first get into motorsports, and what's your history with it?
My first event was a car rally, and that was in 1968. Went from co-driving in rallies to driving, and that went on for many years. And in that area of rallying, I always enjoyed the suspension. And then I got involved with a business involving suspension, and then that led me to circuit racing and V8 supercars, and on it goes.
How has your knowledge from being a rally champion helped your success in time attack?
Well, rallying incorporates, I still think rallying, I'll probably get in trouble, but I think rallying incorporates every facet of driving more than any other form of motorsport. Confidence in the car pays high dividends, and a similar thing approaches, is applied to circuit racing, but it's a very mathematical thing. I'm probably more of a mathematical person than I am an electrical person. So the characteristics and the mechanical don't really change. It's just the forces and the loads change. Where in circuit racing, there's quite a few areas that have got to be optimised. But in rallying, all of the areas have got to be optimised. But if one thing's a bit crook on a rally car, it's a difficult thing to drive, and then you pay the price dearly for that, where you can sometimes drive around a problem and recognising that on a circuit car. And we all started with the SR20 motors. Certainly found out that the limitations of horsepower, which you really need in time attack, like there's three very important things in time attack. One is power to weight ratio, one is drivability, and the other one is aero. So trying to get some horsepower out of the earlier Datsun motors was very frustrating until then. I think I was the first one to have a billet block on a circuit and successfully use it, and that way we can get 4 figures out of it in horsepower, and we could move on a lot, which is what we did.
And how did those learnings feed into the MCA business?
Yeah, well, it's not very nice to drive a car all weekend trying to win something when the car doesn't do what you want it to do. So I sort of quickly learnt that the suspension components of that car was probably the most important as far as enjoying the car. The rest of it, motors, gearboxes and diffs, are pretty simplistic things in a way. So that's and then I got into the suspension side of it because of recognising that it's such an important part to play with the drivability of the car.
And what is your mindset like heading into this year's event? Is there a certain goal that you'd like to achieve with the car?
Yeah, well, I mean, we made the decision to run the car in a very basic form and try and focus on what I consider the important parts and not focus on the other parts, because we just don't have the ability of time and resources to explore it all. So, and time attack suits us because you pay for your own mistakes, generally speaking, whereas you're not racing side by side. And it's in a good engineering display, good engineering and driver display, very clean, tidy, and crisp. But this car is actually a bit of a display. It's got, like, not many cars have got that speed with, and I can tell you, standard suspension arms with rubber, like no added anything. Basically, it's almost a road car with some horsepower and some aero, and all the rest of it was a display to say, and it doesn't have any paddle shifts, it doesn't have any traction control. Efficient management and modifications with and putting a capital T in tradesman on the driver.
Would we see you in the driver's seat again at any point?
No, I don't think so. Look, for a bit of fun, I still do the setup on the car. I check the brake balance, I check the gear shifts, I get the basic configuration of the car. I still test today. I did it on this one a month ago, and do all the testing with the aero and all that sort of stuff, you know. But as far as a competitive thing goes, I'm sort of 75. The thought of me going through turn 1 at 200 plus, I just thought, well, I'm not doing that.
I'm excited for the top speed. I'm nervous for turn 1. Judging by the aero versus the power ratio to some of the cars, I'm kind of thinking by the end of the weekend it might be just about flat, almost. So that'll be quite scary.
I've heard that you've done some change to the suspension to suit the slicks. Could you tell us what that process was?
Well, it's mainly just spring rates, really. It'll be a bit of a test for this car because the slicks have offered more grip, brakes and lateral grip. So, yeah, well, with the different aero, there's different downforce figures and things like that which we weren't used to, before. Like it was a new platform. We had to relearn where the travel was and where it goes over the bumps and when it brakes and the different down and how much the ride height changes at speed, and all that had to be addressed, which was a whole brand new learning curve. And we've only had our one event really to do that. You know, little things come up. Well, maybe not a little thing, but maybe the power steering isn't strong enough because it's electric and it's factory standard. So we've just got to decide whether we're going to redo the power steering before the event or tell the driver to go to the gym.
could you offer to someone who dreams of competing at the World Time Attack Challenge?
Yeah, well, it's a good opportunity to get into motorsport. You can choose whatever level you want to start. I would suggest the club sprint category, and see how you go. And if you you find out you don't have to spend a hell of a lot of money to find out A, whether you enjoy it, or B, if you do enjoy it, you can sort of move on.
And why should people come to the World Time Attack Challenge?
Well, I mean, you go to a race meeting today, and like the V8 supercars are all very similar. The Porsches are all control category. The Toyota 86 was a great series, but they're all the same looking cars. Whereas you go to World Time Attack, there's all the best and worst ideas all displayed, all out there with cars built differently with different ideas, and it's a lot of fun to walk through pit lane and just see all the different ways and people's emotions, and you can build the car you always wanted to. Whereas because the rules are very free, I think they're very sensible, but they're very free. And it's like a free expression category.
You've been up on the top step of the podium twice before. Are you still hungry for that top spot?
Yeah. Well, I am. I mean, I like to win things. Yeah, like I like to enter with the idea of winning. Yeah, because it gives you some motivation. It's more about doing the job as well as you can, and see what happens.
Winning the World Time Attack Challenge would be cool. That's kind of the goal everyone goes there for. That's what makes it a race, essentially. So yeah, that's kind of my goal, to go there and win. Whether it's possible, I'm not too sure, but I'll give it a red hot crack.
Do you have a target lap time?
Yeah, well, I think the lap records are 123 by Tim. I don't know, 122 will be good, but who knows if it's possible. Maybe the track will be really fast, and it is possible. We're gonna need to have everything in a straight line and go on to plan to pull something off.
We'd love to wrap this up with a final message from yourself to the fans watching at home.
You know, I'm not a V8 supercar driver yet, so I don't bite. I'm not, you don't have to be scared of coming up and saying g'day, ask for a signature, or it's all cool. I like that stuff. Want to come around and see the car? I'm happy to show you guys through it, and it's just get upon it and get around it, and the support's great.
What does success look like to you at the World Time Attack Challenge?
To me, success is made in the workshop, and then you go out on the event and have a good time. And whatever comes out of that, comes out.
Thank you so much for watching. We really hope that you enjoyed this deep dive into the MCA Suspension car. They've taken on the King of QR, and we can't wait to see their return to the World Time Attack Challenge in Sydney. If you want to support us and get the merch, you can visit WTACshop.com, and a big thanks to Supercheap Auto for making this Road to World Time Attack Challenge super. We'll see you all in September.